Tonight, a dramatic change in Canada's foreign policy in the Middle East.
Canada intends to recognize the state of Palestine.
The terms and conditions and the backlash from Israel.
Something in the trust is breaking right now.
Plus, trade deal uncertainty.
It's possible that they may not conclude by the 1st of August.
The impact on the interest rate and the Premier shocked by the Bank of Canada's decision. And why a mega earthquake across the Pacific is being called a wake-up call for Canada.
CTV National News with Omar Sachedina. Reporting tonight, Marcia McMillan.
Good evening. We begin with an historic shift on Canada's foreign policy in the Middle East. Calling the situation in Gaza intolerable, Prime Minister Mark Carney says Canada intends to join two of its Western allies in recognizing Palestine as a state at the UN in September. Carney spoke to the president of the Palestinian Authority, Mahmoud Abbas, about the plan. CTV's Abigail Beeman has more on the conditions and the swift reaction from Israel.
Following similar stances by the UK and France.
Canada intends to recognize the state of Palestine at the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly in September 2025.
That intention, the Prime Minister says, is based on the Palestinian Authority's commitment to reforms, including holding general elections in 2026, where Hamas plays no part.
It's not going to change the conflict on the ground as we speak. There's no question of that. It's a message to the government of Israel.
I can tell you that something in the trust is breaking right now. When Canada is taking a move, well knowing that Israel will not accept this, will reject it.
Israel rejects the message, not trusting the Palestinian Authority to follow through.
Hamas feels emboldened today. Hamas is rewarded today for the 7th of October atrocities.
On the ground in Gaza, at least 46 people were killed today, most in crowds trying to get food. The United Nations World Food Program says it could officially declare a famine in the Gaza Strip. Israel says it's constantly improving aid delivery.
This decision is more than symbolic. It is a small step in the right direction and the recognition that sovereignty is essential to the survival and dignity of all people.
A senior government official tells CTV News today's decision is also about Canada intending to play a bigger role in the Mideast peace process going forward and, quote, try and be more useful. Marcia?
Abigail, thank you. The Prime Minister admitted today that a trade deal may not be reached with the U.S. before Donald Trump's Friday deadline. Amid the uncertainty, the Bank of Canada held its benchmark interest rate at 2.75% for the third time in a row. CTV's Rachel Aiello now on the economic outlook and the new tariff threat.
The lack of clarity over whether the Canada-U.S. trade war is about to be over or is about to escalate is clouding this country's economic outlook, prompting the Bank of Canada to hold its key interest rate.
Uncertainty about U.S. tariffs on Canada is still high. Discussions between Canada and the United States are ongoing, and U.S. policy remains unpredictable.
Today, this country's top banker said future inflation projections hinge on Prime Minister Mark Carney and U.S. President Donald Trump making a deal.
The tariffs have a permanent effect on the economy unless they're removed.
The decision was widely forecasted by the big banks, but it shocked Ontario Premier Doug Ford, who said it's never been more important to stimulate growth and called on the central bank to cut interest rates now.
How would you respond to that?
Look, we take our decisions independently of the political process. We are going to make sure that a tariff problem does not become an inflation problem.
That tariff problem only growing today, with Trump ending a tariff loophole that allowed low-cost goods to be imported into the U.S. duty-free, and announcing 50% tariffs on certain copper imports. The sudden trade action followed by Carney conceding an August 1st agreement may be unattainable.
We're seeking the best deal for Canadians. We have not yet reached that deal. Negotiations will continue until we do.
Though Trump's envoy to Canada still thinks there's a chance of an agreement by Friday.
It's Wednesday today, so you've got at least 48 hours and maybe up to 72 hours, but a lot of things happen at a close of a negotiation.
For Canadian employers like Algoma Steel, time is of the essence. Today, the company suspended its dividend after reporting a dramatic drop in profits due to tariff disruptions. Marcia?
Thanks, Rachel. Trump has reached a trade deal with South Korea, imposing a 15% tariff on its exports to the United States. He also imposed a 50% tariff on Brazil and 25% on India, plus an additional penalty for buying Russian oil. New video tonight of the moment an American Airlines passenger plane collided with a military Black Hawk helicopter over the Potomac River in D.C. back in January, killing 67 people. Loved ones wiping away tears, watching as part of today's NTSB hearings. The helicopter was found to be flying higher than it should have been, and the altitude readings were inaccurate. And a small private plane sat damaged on the runway at Pearson Airport after experiencing issues with its landing gear after touching down. No one was injured, but 2 runways were briefly closed. Crews are scrambling to contain a new raging wildfire, forcing a sudden and immediate evacuation near Kelowna, BC. Evacuations are already underway for roughly 400 nearby properties, and a highway has been shut down. Residents along the BC coast were on alert for a tsunami after one of the strongest earthquakes ever recorded. The 8.8 magnitude hit last night in far eastern Russia, triggering some panic across the Pacific. CTV's BC Bureau Chief Andrew Johnson looks at the warnings and the wake-up calls.
In Russia, they scrambled out of crumbling buildings, held on for dear life, and at the hospital, surgery became a struggle. Within hours, one of the largest earthquakes in modern history triggered tsunami alerts in more than 20 countries.
It's almost impossible to describe just how large an earthquake of this magnitude is.
In Japan, millions of people were told to evacuate to higher ground. Some were seen moving to the top of tall buildings. Honolulu was in gridlock as people raced to get away from the coast.
It's an easy thing. Get away from the beaches, get inland, and get upward.
On Canada's west coast, beaches were closed, and there was a lot of uncertainty during a 13-hour tsunami advisory, warning of strong waves and potential flooding.
Those long-standing incidents where, you're half a day going, is there something coming? Is it going to be okay? Are certainly unsettling, and we heard that from a lot of people in our community.
In Port Alberni on Vancouver Island, that concern is rooted in the memory of what happened in 1964 when a tsunami caused widespread destruction.
We really try to keep it top of mind for people, not so that they're worried all the time, but so that, if we do have an incident and we have to evacuate a portion of our community in the middle of the night, we're ready and able to do that.
The Premier says the provincial alert system worked as expected.
The province, local governments, regional districts all work together to ensure people are safe. It was a good trial run for us. So if we do see a major event in the future, we know we have a system that should work to deliver that warning.
Experts are calling this a wake-up call for people to think about their personal preparedness in a province overdue for a major earthquake and potential tsunami much closer to home. Andrew Johnson, CTV News, Vancouver.
A Toronto man killed in Costa Rica earlier this month is being remembered as a loving and generous soul.
Just coming out of a room and somebody shoots you because they're trying to rob you, and for what?
The family of 44-year-old Christopher Deere says he died after being shot in a violent robbery attempt at his rented house. This was just a day after he arrived on vacation in the coastal town of Tamarindo. Global Affairs has confirmed they're aware of the death, but few details are known about the circumstances around it. Local authorities say the case is under investigation.
Imagine that it was your child. Imagine that it was your neighbor's child, or your niece or your nephew. Imagine that you are the person that could bring a missing child home.
8-year-old Nicole Moran disappeared 40 years ago today from her Toronto apartment building. She was on her way to meet a friend to go swimming, but was never seen again. A new $50,000 reward is being offered for information in her disappearance. An emotional search is underway on the East Coast for a New Brunswick man who went missing while kayaking. His family desperately trying to find him days after the RCMP called off its search. CTV's Maria Saru shows us how the community is coming together to help.
It's very suffering right now, still wondering and still searching.
Luc Bourgeois' dad and uncles climb aboard, strap in and snap on headsets. They know the odds and are expecting the worst, but they're flying anyway.
I think we accepted what we're hoping to find, and we're coming to terms with it. It's tough, but we're not going to stop till we find him. We need some closure.
Last Thursday, the 34-year-old went kayaking, launching from the wharf in Pointe-du-Chêne, New Brunswick, and never came home. Shediac RCMP stopped their search after 3 days, leaving his loved ones to take the lead.
Those resources kind of started to die down, and none of us have done this before.
They turned to Facebook, and thousands of strangers stepped up, looking for Bourgeois by land and sea in coastal communities across his home province and PEI. People walked beaches and forest edges, drove sea-doos through coves and wharves, but being on the boats is dangerous and slow.
Aerial is key, especially right now. So the waters were rough for a few days.
You're able to do a lot of grounds within a very short amount of time.
Up in the sky, they can scan kilometers in minutes, see the bottom of the ocean floor, and check the surface for Bourgeois' body. Today's time on the helicopter was free, but the next flight isn't guaranteed. For those who want to help, there's more information on the Bring Luke Home Facebook page. Maria Saru, CTV News, Summerside, Prince Edward Island.
The Montreal father accused of killing his 9-year-old daughter earlier this month on a trip to the U.S. appeared in court today, where a judge decided he will remain behind bars. CTV's Geneviève Boschman now with what else was revealed in court.
Fertolin was wearing a gray suit, no tie, as he appeared in Ticonderoga, a small town nearly 2.5 hours drive from Montreal.
He maintains his innocence.
He pleaded not guilty to grand jury indictments of second-degree murder in the drowning death of Melina Fertolin and concealment of a human corpse. On that count, the indictment alleges that he did conceal his daughter's human corpse by placing it in a wooded area in water near a fallen tree with a rock on top of the corpse. Fertolin took Melina from Montreal on a father-daughter trip south of the border in early July. Police say he fabricated a story that she was kidnapped by someone in a white van, and the 9-year-old girl's body was found in shallow water.
He has no ties to the United States.
The court heard today that Fertolin has an Italian and an Ethiopian passport, and that he has residences both in Canada and in Ethiopia. If released, his lawyer argued he planned to stay with a friend in New York City and had no reason to run. But the prosecution told the court that he's a flight risk, pointing to his passports and assets. Fertolin was denied bail. He will be back in court on August 19th, and his jury trial is tentatively scheduled for January. Geneviève Boschman, CTV News, Montreal.
In Washington, Democrats invoked a century-old rule to force the release of the Jeffrey Epstein files. This as President Trump shed new light on his feud with the late financier and convicted sex offender. CTV's Joy Malbin has the details.
President Donald Trump may want to move on from the constant questions about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein.
We've had a great weekend.
But Senate Democrats have found a new weapon, using a century-old federal law to compel the administration to release everything they have on Epstein by next month.
If there's nothing to hide, why all the evasiveness? Trump should stop hiding from the truth. He should stop hiding from the American people. So today, Senate Democrats took action.
The president shared new details last night about what triggered his break with Epstein, saying he stole his workers, including Virginia Giuffre, who worked at Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort.
I think she worked at the spa. I think so. I think that was one of the people. Yeah. He stole her. And by the way, she had no complaints about us, as you know.
Giuffre fought for herself and other Epstein victims, settling out of court against Prince Andrew in 2022 and testifying against Ghislaine Maxwell, who recruited her as a teenager to have sex with powerful men. She killed herself last April. Trump's former personal lawyer interviewed Maxwell last week, serving 20 years in jail for her crimes. She wants out, offering to testify, but only if she's granted immunity. The lawyer representing Epstein's victims says Maxwell knows a lot.
We got, during the discovery process, phone logs, message pads that were seized by police during that investigation. It showed numerous people calling the homes, trying to make appointments for massages and to have them send over girls.
Spencer Kuvin says all the president needs to do is sign an executive order and release the files.
And President Trump has not ruled out a pardon for Maxwell, but says no one has asked him yet. Marcia?
Joy, thank you. Coming up.
These animals are archaic.
Which billionaire is offering to bankroll a legal fight to save a BC flock destined for death? And could Canadian Eugenie Bouchard serve up another win to extend her tennis career? Canada's billionaire Weston family wants to buy the original 1670 Royal Charter that formed Hudson's Bay and donate it to the Canadian Museum of History. King Charles II issued the charter 355 years ago. It gave the Bay rights to vast land spanning most of Canada and extraordinary power over trade and Indigenous relations for decades. The move is pending court approval. In British Columbia, the fate of hundreds of ostriches the federal government wants culled has taken a new turn. CTV's Judy Trin now on the billionaire who wants to take the birds under his wing.
These animals are archaic.
John Katzimatidis, an American billionaire and grocery titan, is pushing the Prime Minister for a stay of execution for nearly 400 big birds at the Universal Ostrich Farm.
To slaughter them like a bunch of chickens, a bunch of poultry, it just horrified me.
These ostriches are on death row, awaiting a ruling from the Federal Court of Appeal. To contain an avian flu outbreak at the farm last winter, the Canadian Food Inspection Agency ordered the surviving birds destroyed. The owners have been fighting the culling order in the courts for more than 7 months.
We're more than probably about $500,000 into legal fees, and this is going to be a financial burden that our family will carry forward for years.
Court documents show that the farm has a $620,000 contract with a Japanese scientist to use the birds for research. COVID-19 antigens are injected into the ostriches to see if antibodies are formed in the eggs they lay. The family has been crowdfunding to pay for their operations and legal fight.
I will find out what was necessary, and I'll lobby some of my friends to write a check.
Katzimatidis has enlisted friends in high places to pressure the Canadian government, including Donald Trump's health secretary, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. In a letter to the Agriculture Minister, RFK Jr. says Canada should work with the U.S. to study ostrich antibodies, while Dr. Mehmet Oz, responsible for U.S. Medicare, has offered to provide the birds sanctuary at his Florida ranch. But while these ostriches survive the avian flu, virologists say they may still carry the highly pathogenic H5N1 virus and have limited research value.
These birds have really been out in nature. Their pens are outdoors. They've been exposed to a lot of different people. I would think that the scientific value of anything that we could find from them would be somewhat limited, just because we don't fully really know their history.
The farm's appeal of the culling order was heard in federal court July 15th. A ruling is expected any day now. Judy Trin, CTV News, Edgewood, BC.
Still ahead, a summer surge.
McIntosh has responded to the challenge there.
Checking up on a Canadian swimming sensation chasing down a legend. Quebec native and former world number 5 tennis star Eugenie Bouchard has played her final professional match.
That's wide.
A hard-fought loss for Bouchard in 3 sets to Belinda Bencic of Switzerland in the second round of the National Bank Open in Montreal. A standing ovation for an emotional Bouchard who was honored with her career accomplishments and then reflected on her rewarding journey.
I remember being a little kid sitting in these stands, hoping and dreaming that I would play on this court one day. I grew up playing on these courts and courts all around Montreal and near here. So it feels like such a full circle moment to finish my career here.
And look at a glide past. It is
Toronto swimming star Summer McIntosh cruised to victory in the women's 200-meter butterfly semifinal at the World Championships in Singapore. She'll go for her third straight gold medal tomorrow and is chasing Michael Phelps' record of 5. Still ahead, how an old tradition on the water is creating a new wave of memories. A picture-perfect day for North America's longest-running sporting event, the St. John's Regatta on Newfoundland's Kitty Lake. It's been making a splash for over 200 years, and as CTV's Garrett Barry shows us, it's an annual summer tradition that never grows old.
Just as foretold in the name of this traditional Newfoundland march, everybody was up the pond today. To eat, to play, and try their luck in a game of chance.
I've never won these. I haven't been here since I was a kid. It feels pretty good. Honestly, I don't think I'm going to win anything ever in my lifetime ever again.
It's the biggest event of the year in Newfoundland and Labrador. Organizers estimate 50,000 people come down to Kitty Lake for the action.
Well, I went to one of the ticket things, and I only spent $2. And I got it right away.
It's never a sure thing. The races, the public holiday, and this massive crowd are all contingent on the weather.
It's not like every single 15-year-old gets to play in a band at the regatta, so I think that's pretty cool.
Today, there were no complaints. Most of these vendors are backed by charitable groups. One of the most popular and longest running is the Hindu temple food stand. It's become a tradition of sorts among regatta attendees.
I think because we make fresh food and it's yummy and we make it with love.
The Hindu temple is my favorite. It's all vegetarian. Now the kids want the butter chicken, so we went to Shalimar, and they're fantastic too. They're great.
Try your luck for just about. It's not only fun and games. The regatta is one of the biggest fundraisers for many of the charities represented here today.
Right up $1 ticket.
Now, with the races over, the cleanup begins. Garrett Perry, CTV News, St. John's.
That's a snapshot of this Wednesday. I'm Marcia McMillan. For all of us at CTV National News, thank you for watching. Good night, and see you tomorrow.